You are welcome to my YouTube channel Pakistan 360. In this video, combat fleet comparison of Indian Air Force with Chinese Air Force will be presented and analyzed. Today the Indian Air Force is the fourth largest air force in the world, with the authorized strength of its combat fleet being just over 800 aircraft. Owing to a very tardy process of modernization of the IAF over the last decade and a half, the strength of the combat fleet has progressively declined to 570 platforms, primarily due to obsolescence. Of the 570 combat aircraft currently on the inventory of the IAF, the fleet of Su-30 MKI, which presently numbers around 266, is of the fourth generation. The remaining aircraft currently held in the fleet that are of the 3.5 generation include the Mirage 2000, MiG-29, Tejas Mk, MiG-21 Bison and the Jaguars. These vintage aircraft, acquired over 3 decades ago, are operating with extension of airframe life, having undergone extensive mid-life upgrade in respect of primarily avionics and weapons systems. As things stand today, in the event of a war with China, the IAF can field only the Su-30 MKI as the true multi-role frontline fighter aircraft. However, the Su-30 MKI fleet is afflicted with issues related to the serviceability of the fleet, which would adversely affect availability of aircraft on the flight line and place the IAF in a position of disadvantage. The Mirage 2000 and MiG-29 fleet will be able to provide limited backup in a multi-role profile, along with MiG-29K from Naval Air Arm. The MiG-21 Bison can be employed primarily in the air defense role to ensure security of air bases. The fleet of Jaguar will have practically no role to play in a conflict with China, as it would involve air operations at high altitudes. Current inventory is therefore as under. Failure of plans of the IAF to induct up to 200 fighters of the fourth generation has resulted in serious erosion of its operational capability. Induction of 36 rifle jets, that is expected to be delivered to the IAF in the period 2019 to 2022, instead will provide only partial relief to the IAF. The plan to develop and manufacture the fifth-generation fighter aircraft jointly with the Russian aerospace industry based on the T-50 PLAAF from Sukhoi has been abandoned. The indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas is likely to take several years to be fully operational. The IAF cannot rely on this indigenous platform to enhance its operational capability significantly. The indigenous advanced medium combat aircraft, AMCA, is proposed to be a twin-engine, fifth-generation multi-role stealth fighter. However, it is still on the drawing board and hence is not relevant to the present context of possible confrontation with the China. The proposal to invite a foreign original equipment manufacturer of a proven single-engine fighter aircraft to jointly produce the platform in India in large numbers under the Make in India scheme, appears to be in limbo and is unlikely to fructify in a reasonable time frame, leaving the IAF literally in the lurch. Combat fleet of the Chinese Air Force. Currently the third largest air force in the world and equipped with 1,742 combat aircraft, nearly 3 times that with the IAF, the Chinese Air Force is striving to displace the Russian Air Force and occupy the second slot by 2020, rubbing shoulders with the United States Air Force that occupies the top slot. The combat fleet of the Chinese Air Force has a judicious mix of third, fourth, and fourth-plus generation platforms. The Chinese Air Force is embarked on an ambitious modernization drive that began 20 years ago. It acquired from Russia the Su-30 MKK, an advanced version of Su-30, the air dominance fighters. Currently over 580 of these aircraft, in various versions, are in service with the Chinese Air Force. Apart from these 4.5 generation combat aircraft, successful induction and operationalization of a fifth generation fighter, the J-20, has placed China among the few in the world. Analysis. In the event of a war with China, At this juncture, the Chinese Air Force can field a large fleet of about 1,165 aircrafts comprising Su-30 MKI, Su-35, J-8, J-10, J-11, J-16 and J-20 as the multi-role frontline fighter aircraft. The remaining fleet will be able to provide limited backup in a multi-role profile and can be employed primarily in the air defense role to ensure security of air bases. With the possibility of war with China looming large over the horizon, the Indian Air Force will have no option but to manage with only 417 multi-role combat aircraft against 1,165 with Chinese Air Force. However, these numbers will be distributed on other borders as well. Therefore, the ratio of 3:1 will likely remain with Chinese Air Force, including qualitative edge and serviceability of aircrafts. Moreover, IAF has no response to Chinese Air Force huge inventory of 120 H-6 strategic bombers. This is the end of my video. Thank you for listening to it. Do subscribe to my channel. Comment, like and share my video. Also click the bell icon for more videos.